Okay, students, go over another practice re-quiz here. So again, it is your job to memorize the steps of every single problem. Until you have memorized, you do not know how to do the problem. Okay, first step, write down changing y over changing x. Next, draw an arrow showing your changing y. -2 minus -9. Now draw an arrow, same direction, showing your change in x. -9 minus -2. We know that we switch two negatives to a positive. So it says 9 minus 2 is 7. 2 minus 9 is -7. I cannot leave it like that. I must reduce it if I want full credit. -1. Should be super easy. Number 2. Again, all these have been on the video from day 1 of school that you've had. I divide each term by the coefficient of y. That gives me a positive 1y right there. I'm going to do the opposite operation to move that across. I should use an arrow if you're going to do it this way. I should see this sign as a negative, so I'm going to change it and put a positive, so I know when I move it to the other side, it's going to be the opposite sign. So that's positive 5/2 x. And then minus the 9/2. It does not ask you to put it in slope-intercept form. Some of you are circling that as an answer. Read the directions. It says find slope. I should know that is in slope-intercept form, and m is my slope. So I better be writing down m equals, whatever the m is, 5/2 right there. You need to memorize those steps. You need to reread the directions. Make sure you only answer what it asks. If you went ahead and did, for example, on the DCAS, if you wrote y equals 5/2 x minus 9/2, you get 0 points, nothing. You have to write only 5/2. That's why you have to learn how to read and follow directions. Number 3, you should know this is in point slope form. You should know it's always the opposite and the opposite. We have people that don't even know what a point is. That is x comma y. They're writing one number only. Opposite, -4. How do I know it's the x coordinate? Because it's right next to the x. How do I know this is the y coordinate? It's right next to the y. Opposite. I should be writing that on the quiz. If you're one of those who struggle with it, opposite and opposite, -4, 2. Not same, same. As many people, I told you, nothing is same, same in math. It's always going to be opposite and opposite over and over in many different things. Okay, slope. You know, in point slope form, y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. That's the point slope form that's written in right there. I know m is slope, just like it is in slope-intercept form. It's written right there for me. Notice I don't have to do any calculations of anything in this. It's just vocabulary is all this problem is. Do you know your vocabulary? Do you know the point slope form? Can you pull out the point and the slope? Can I leave it as -3/9? No, I always have to reduce fractions. I don't just put it there. I read the directions right next to it. It says with arrows, down and right. Just follow directions. 4 and 5, simplifying a radical. The first thing I should be doing, if I don't know my perfect squares off the top of my head, is writing down those perfect squares up to 100. Okay? Then I should be able to tell myself I'm looking for one of these perfect squares that goes into 48. 16 times 3 is 48. If you don't know that, you put in your calculator. You know, if that's not a perfect square, which is not, 48 is right there. It starts with half that number and work my way down. Half of 48 is 24. The next one down is 16 to try. If I don't know that 48 divided by 16 divides evenly, I just put in the calculator. You got a calculator this entire time. 48 divided by 16 is 3. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 3 doesn't break down, and there's my answer right there. Very simple. 175, I should recognize that as $1.75. That's a multiple of 25. 25 times what? 7 is 175. I better have a radicals on both those numbers. I don't write, as some people did, 25 root 7. That does not equal square root of 175. It has to be square root of 25 times square root of 7 is square root of 175. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 7 doesn't break down. 4 does not go into 7 evenly. Okay, that's simple. That's all I should have to see on your quiz. This is on the video from day 1 of school. Parallel, I should write down the word same slope. I should see that it's already in slope-intercept form, so there's my slope. So I already know the parallel slope is -7. Write it down. You'd get a point for doing that. And once it through a point, so I have a point and a slope, so I'm going to put it in point slope form. If you have to write out what point slope form is again, then you write it out, and now you just fill it in. There's my x sub 1, there's my y sub 1. And there's my m. I'm just filling in y minus a -9 equals my slope, -7. X minus the x coordinate, 1. I know I changed two negatives to a positive. I did not leave it as two negatives. And you can stop right there, as I told you, and there's your answer. It's just filling numbers in. All I know is point slope form. Fill it in. There's my m. There's nothing to calculate. There's my x sub 1 and y sub. Just fill it in. There's nothing to calculate at all. Now, if you want to go ahead and distribute it through, because that's how they want it on the edge elastic test, then I would distribute the -7 through there and get -7x plus 7 minus the 9, which then gives me -7x minus 2. So I would take that also, if you want to put it in slope-intercept form. Perpendicular, I should write down negative reciprocal. How many times did I not see people write that down? Which means I have to first find the parallel slope. Well, I should be identifying the parallel slope. How do I do that? Well, this is just like number 2 up here, where we had to find the slope. It's in standard form, the exact same form right here. So again, I divide by the coefficient of y on each term. I look at that sign, it's negative. I'm moving it to the other side because now I have one y here. That's a negative, so it's going to be a plus on the other side. So it's going to be plus 6/8. Do I leave it as 6/8? No, I must reduce it down to 3/4 x, and then minus the 1/4. So what is the parallel slope? I should write down parallel slope equals 3/4. So therefore the perpendicular slope, which is the negative reciprocal that you've already written down right here, is -4/3. And there's my point. So I just fill in the point slope formula again. Y minus a -3 is +3. The slope, -4/3. That is the perpendicular slope. X minus 4. That is it. Very simple. We've said perpendicular at least 20 times in each class, no matter what class, between all the lessons that we've gone through. And yet I still don't see people writing down the words negative reciprocal on their quiz. I don't see people dividing each term. I have people dividing by 8. I didn't say divide by the opposite of the coefficient of y. I said divide by the coefficient of y, which is -8. You have people writing +8 there. Blows your whole answer. You can't get any credit. Pythagorean theorem, it's written right here for you. And we have people that still couldn't even apply it and use it. I have it written on it, so you have to have it memorized. You need to have that memorized. I even gave it to you on the quiz right here to use. All you have to do is fill this in. So I have 8 squared plus 14 squared equals c squared. We have people writing down c. It's written right here, c squared. Why are you writing down c? Okay, so I have 64 plus 196 equals c squared. 260 then, right? Equals c squared. How do I get down to c? I take the square root. Why aren't I seeing that square root on both sides? It's exactly, you just follow the exact same steps I do. You do not cut out steps. You memorize and follow the exact same steps. Okay? I know that 4 goes into 60, so 4 will go into 260. So 4 times what? You don't know, you put in a calculator. It's going to be 6 and 5 right there, 65. If you don't know it, you see 60 divided by 4 and you'll get the 65. You've got a calculator. I'm doing the whole thing without a calculator. You do it with the calculator. Okay? 2 root 65 is the exact answer. Then it says and. the nearest tenth. We have so many people not reading that. It says and nearest tenth. So now I need to put the square root of 260 in the calculator. So I bring that up. Here's a basic one. I do 260 square root 16.1 because we're going to nearest tenth, 16.1. So I write approximately equal to 16.1. Now I've answered both questions, the exact value and the nearest tenth. Number 9, the same thing, except for I'm given A and C. Again, I have the formula right here, and we have people putting the A and the C on the same side. Does that say A and C is on the same side up there? No, they're on the opposite sides. 6 squared plus B squared equals 28 squared. That should be very easy to fill in. And we have people putting 6 squared plus 28 squared, putting it on the same side. That is not what it says there. A and C. 36 plus B squared equals, again, you don't know 28 squared, you put in a calculator. 28 times 28. 784, I believe. Yes. 784. Subtract the 36 across. So I have B squared equals 748. Take the square root. Same steps we just did over here. Okay, again, I know that B, or that 4 will go into 48, so 4 will go into 748. Might have to simplify after that, we'll see. 4 we're going to 7 once, 34, it's 8 and 7. Okay, you could just type in 748 divided by 4 and get the 187. Okay. So now I have that equals 2 root 187. 187 does not break down at all. Okay, so it's the exact answer, 2 root 187. And now I again put in the square root of 748 in the calculator because I have to round to the nearest tenth. So 748 square root, how do you put it on this one here? 27.3. So 27.3. Move that up there. Okay, there's my two answers. Exact and approximate. Write the equation line that passes through this. So again, I can put in point slope form. I can write down point slope form. So what do I need? I need a point. Oh, I've got 2 points, so I get to choose which one I want to use. X sub 1, Y sub 1. Let's use the first one. Doesn't matter. But now I have to find the slope. That's the only other thing I need. Well, I just did number 1 was find slope between 2 points. That was number 1. So slope, change in Y over change in X. All we're doing is doing problem number 1 again, doing the slope. That you have right there. Problem number 1, find the slope and then fill it in the point slope formula. That is it. Should be very simple. 7. Draw your arrow in which direction you're going. 7 minus negative 8 over negative 4 minus 7 plus, so I have 15 over negative 11. So there's my slope. Fill it into the M. Fill in the X sub 1 and Y sub 1 and you're done. That's simple. Y minus 7 equals negative 15 11ths. X minus a minus 4 makes it plus 4. There's my answer. Okay? Or if you want to use the other one for their point, if you want that to be X sub 1, Y sub 1 instead, then you have Y minus a negative 8 makes it plus 8. Slope doesn't change, the same slope. X minus the X value, 7. There would be the other answer if you want to use that as your point. Either one of those two. Again, slope. You've been doing changing Y over changing X, Y sub 2 minus Y sub 1 over all over X sub 2 minus X sub 1 since 8th grade. Every year, 8th grade, 9th grade, now again 10th grade, 3 years in a row. Okay, and yet we have people adding slope. It's never been addition of slope, it's always been subtraction. We have people that don't know the difference between the X coordinate and the Y coordinate still. We have people that think slope is changing X over changing Y. Okay? You got to know this. This is basic from 8th grade. X credit, 3 distinct Pythagorean triples. 3, 4, 5. I already gave you all 5 of these. 5, 12, 13. You just had to pick 3 of them, 7, 24, 25, 8, 15, 17, or 9, 40, 41. You just pick 3 of those 5 to write down. You don't get to pick any of the multiples. That's why it says distinct. You can't pick a multiple of one of those. Got to be 3 of those 5 right there. Okay, I told you you're going to see that as extra credit on different quizzes throughout the year as well. So you better get those memorized. You want to earn the extra credit on other quizzes. All right, so that's how you do it. Every one of these was perfectly explained already in video day 1. You have that video. I've sent it to you multiple times and to your parents multiple times. You can watch it over and over and over. I did a lot more examples in that video. Here I just did 10 that were just on the quiz, but there's 2 or 3 or 4 of each of these types on that video. So you saw it 2, 3, 4 times on that video. Same steps over and over. Math is just repeating the same steps. Memorize your steps, go through the steps. Okay, that'll do it.